After acquiring defensive end Bryce Huff in that trade with the Philadelphia Eagles, will the Niners make another move following that Bryce Huff trade? We're talking about that here on the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Thank you so much for hanging out here with me. A programming alert. I do so many shows every single week here on the show for all of the real ones who know. This week, I'm not going to be able to do as much volume of content because I am in a wedding. Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, getting married on Friday. So let's have some fun with this, right? I'm going to be tied up, not talking Niners as much as I want to, but let's take down some drinks. We're 42 people away from 162,000 subscribers. Each sub that we pick up on this show equals one drink for the wedding party. So lock us in, hit that sub button, fuel us some drinks, and you'll be a winner at the end of the day because you get Elite Niners coverage right here on YouTube. Here are, by the way, the official Bryce Huff trade details. That trade went down on Friday. We didn't know until Monday night what the Niners were sending the Philadelphia Eagles. It is going to be a fifth-round pick, which can become a fourth based upon playing time and how Huff performs with San Francisco in 2025. And why I really like this Huff trade and why I think it could end up being a steal for San Francisco. This also sets the foundation for what we're going to discuss on the show today. Huff flourished with Robert Saleh. He was not a scheme fit for Vic Fangio and the Philadelphia Eagles. Fangio runs a 3-4. The outside linebackers are stand-up pass rushers who also drop back in coverage. That is not Bryce Huff's game. He is a hand-in-the-dirt, wide 9, 4-3 pass rushing defensive end who is at his best when he can pin his ears back, be a Bugatti, get off the line of scrimmage, and attack the quarterback. Sometimes when you play outside linebacker in a 3-4, you have to read and react. And that's why Huff did not perform all that well with Philadelphia in 2024. But when you look at some of his analytical numbers for how he performed as a pass rusher solely, which is what he's being brought in to San Francisco to do, he still performed pretty well. And then in 2023 under Saleh, he was elite. The Niners needed an edge rusher. They needed a pass rush specialist. And so Bryce Huff is perfect for this role. The Niners aren't paying him anything, less than $8 million, right? In football terms, if he performs, that could end up being a huge bargain. And not only is Bryce Huff a great scheme fit for the Niners, he might be the best defensive end who Nick Bosa has had opposite of him since Bosa was taken second overall out of Ohio State in 2019. And what did I say here? The 49ers needed an edge rusher. They needed a pass rush specialist. They went out and they got Bryce Huff. What's still, though, on this defense, which could start 5 rookies under Saleh in 2025, is a big remaining need for the Niners. It's the safety position. And it's the safety position because of some injuries that have occurred there at the end of the year going into the offseason. Malik Mustafa looked at as a building block on this defense going into year 2. We found out after the draft that in the regular season finale against the Arizona Cardinals, he injured his ACL. He's not going to be ready for week 1. He might not come back until about the midway point of the 2025 season. And as a rookie, 4th-round pick out of Wake Forest, he impressed me a lot. Plays like a bowling ball, very physical, made huge hit after huge hit, no fear, pretty good against the pass, being able to read and react at that 3rd level. But man, he does not waste any time or hesitate in attacking the line of scrimmage, getting upfield to attack the ball carrier. It's really impressive, the play style, the speed and the physicality that he plays with. He's good against the run, pretty solid against the pass, and last year as a rookie, 72 tackles, 1 pick, and 5 pass breakups. It's really unfortunate that he suffered this injury because he was looked at as a bona fide starter going into his sophomore campaign, but in that regular season finale, he got cleated in his knee. He injured that same ACL that he hurt in 2022. He left the game. The Niners thought that he was going to be okay, But then he got an MRI, and they saw that the graft in his knee was injured. There's no cartilage or meniscus damage, but because he didn't get that surgical repair until after the year, he's not going to be ready for training camp or the start of the regular season. His running mate last year was second-year safety Jair Brown, who's now entering year 3 after he struggled in year 2. I think that was a big byproduct of bad coaching. Jair Brown not going to be ready until at least training camp because he had to get ankle surgery recently. And it was an up-and-down year for Brown in 2024. Overall PFF grade 64.8 in the green, but that ranked 78th among 171 safeties. His run defense grade, not good. Over-pursued, too aggressive against the run, so he missed a lot of tackles, a 53.6 grade there. And because of that, he was 145th among 171 safeties in missed tackles. His coverage grade, starting caliber, at 69.5. When I watched him at Penn State, when I watched him in year 1, he does have a pretty good feel for the game. He's a pretty instinctual player that allows him to sometimes be in the right spot at the right time, read and react, dropping back in coverage. Another plus to his game is that he had 24 stops. That was 20th at the safety position last year. And so some good, some bad. But when is he going to come back? We're really not sure. Now, his injury, not expected to be as long-term as Mustafa's injury. I think that he'll be ready for week 1, and the starting safety tandem will be Jair Brown and Jason Pinnock. But outside of that, you drafted Marquise Siegel. He can run 4.3, but he just started playing safety recently. He's a little bit raw there. Richie Grant, a former second-round pick, but the Niners signed him for cheap for a reason. Falcons didn't want to retain him. He started a lot of games, but he hasn't played all that well. And so you look at that room, there are a lot of question marks there with the personnel and the injuries. And so safety, a big remaining need for the Niners, as I noted earlier. The good news for San Francisco is there are a lot of really solid options available, all for different price points, players at different points in their respective careers, players who have different skill sets, and players who have been accomplished players in the National Football League. And we're going to take a look at those remaining free agents coming up here just around the corner, but we continue to tell you about some fantastic deals thanks to our friends at Fanatics. How about this shirt? Nike, San Francisco 49ers print, and the logo on the front. You want to get geared up for the 2025 season? You want to rock this shirt during the summertime to let people know it's red and gold till you're dead and cold? Use that link down below. Chatsports.com/SF shirt. It was $40. It's now only $28. I'll attach that link to the pinned comment, and I'll put it in the show notes of today's 49ers report. As for the top free agent safeties available in free agency, Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon, Marcus Williams, Jordan Whitehead, Quandre Diggs, probably by far the top 5 options available. But then you flip the page, and there are some older players left who don't quite have as much left in the tank, but could still be some solid, viable backup veteran options. Chuck Clark, good player for a long time with the Baltimore Ravens. Jordan Poyer, Rodney McLeod, Tashawn Gibson, if you want a player who has familiarity with this team and this defense. And then there's Marcus May. By far for me, my favorite safety left, who I would love the Niners to sign, is Justin Simmons. He is a 4-time second-team All-Pro who has been getting it done for a really long time, and he's been highly durable throughout his career. 2016 third-round pick. He's been an All-Pro in 2019 and then 2021 through 2023. And so he's 2 years removed from being an All-Pro player, one of the top safeties in the National Football League. He also has this ability to attack the ball while it's in the air. And he always makes plays on the rock. NFL interceptions co-leader in 2022. And since coming into the league in 2016 among safeties, he's picked off some of the most passes at that position in the NFL. You talk about the durability, 13-plus games in 8 of 9 years. And he is a ball-hawking playmaker on that back end. I know Talanoa Hufanga was a great player. He wasn't a ball-hawking playmaker. Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa, I wouldn't classify them as ball-hawking playmakers. Now, some people will say, well, Hufanga, he picked passes off and he was always around the ball. That is for sure. I'm talking about a deep center field safety who can control that third level, ball hawking right, left, and everything in front of him. Hufanga made a lot of plays when he was around the line of scrimmage because the Niners had to hide him there and use him there because he was a little bit slow at that third level. Simmons in 2024 did struggle. It was his first year with the Atlanta Falcons, but I think context is important here. That defense stunk. Overall PFF grade of 59.9, 113th at the position. Run defense grade was not good at 53.8. Still did pretty well in coverage, 60.8 there. He did have 2 picks. That was 23rd among safeties, so he continued to do that well. He allowed a passer rating of 105.1, 64th. That's low for his standards, but he did have 4 pass breakups. That was 19th. He had played with Denver, and he had been in that Denver system for so long. He goes to a new defense in 2024, and he's talked openly about this. He was playing catch-up. He signed in August, and it was tough for him to acclimate to that defense. But Atlanta's entire defense was awful. And we all know, this is one of my big pillars for defensive football play, right? If you can't get after the quarterback, your secondary is going to have a really difficult time. And the Falcons last year allowed the highest completion rate at 69.9% and the second most touchdowns with 34. But they were last in the NFL in sacks with 31, last in pressure percentage at 28.1%. They could not get to the quarterback. And so QBs had all day to survey the field. I don't care if Ed Reed or Brian Dawkins is back there at that safety spot. If you don't have a front 4 or a front 3 that can collapse the pocket and apply pressure on the quarterback, any type of safety is going to struggle on that back end. As for Julian Blackmon, he played last year under Gus Bradley. Gus Bradley was the Colts defensive coordinator. Gus Bradley is now an assistant under Robert Saleh. Gus Bradley hired Robert Saleh with the Jags as a linebackers coach before Saleh came to the Niners to be Kyle Shanahan's defensive coordinator. So Gus Bradley is very familiar with the play of Julian Blackmon. Whereas Simmons is on the wrong side of 30, Blackmon is on the right side of 30. And last year, he graded out pretty well. Overall PFF grade 69.3, 48th at the position. That's starting caliber right there. His pass rush grade, 69.4. You can use him around the line of scrimmage a little bit. Run defense grade, not good. That's where he really struggled. 148th out of 171 safeties. But his coverage grade of 73.5 was 23rd at the position, and he picked off 3 passes. The Niners had interest in Blackmon going into 2024. And so clearly the organization thinks pretty highly of him, and there's some coaching staff familiarity there. For Marcus Williams, he became a really solid player for Baltimore, and to start his career, he was very durable. The last 3 years, he's missed a lot of time, but he is a veteran who has been a part of some great Ravens defenses, which are coached very well. And so he's an intriguing option for me as a backup player. But I think that Blackmon and Justin Simmons can start for this team if they need to be thrust into that role. So where's your head at? Which safety should the Niners sign? This is the biggest remaining need on this Niners team, outside of offensive line, of course, but we know how the Niners value their offensive line. They don't. Join the conversation down in the comments section. Drop me a name or names. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.